Hello all, welcome to Sakarche Sambarnath. In this video, I'm going to show you two deadly traps in Berlin defense. Friends, the video is going to be a bit lengthy as I have tried to explain both the traps in some details. But I am sure you will like the video as I have tried to make it as entertaining as possible. And also, both the traps are easy to understand. So do mention in the comment box below what do you think of this video. And don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Berlin defense is a solid defensive line for black against Ruy Lopez, or also called as Spanish opening. Due to its drawish nature, it was rarely played by top players, but gained popularity due to World Championship match in 2000 between Vladimir Kramnik and Garry Kasparov, in which Kramnik used it successfully in 4 games to draw them. Later, it was also used in World Championship match in 2013 between Magnus Carlsen and Vishy Anand in 4 games. There is another quick draw line in Berlin defense, but that is not part of this video.
No!
So let's see two deadly traps. Trap number 1, the Mortimer Gambit trap. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, and Bishop B5. This is Ruy Lopez or Spanish opening. And Berlin defense starts with Knight to F6. Now, there are 3 main lines for white. D3, castling, and bishop takes C6, as you can see here. Our first trap is from the line D3. Our second trap is from the line castling. And about bishop takes C6, this is the second choice of the players. So after bishop takes C6, D takes C6, and if white captures this E5 pawn thinking that it is a free pawn, then black plays queen D4, attacking knight and pawn at the same time. And when knight goes back, it will capture the pawn on E4 and give the check. Then white has to play queen E2 and black will exchange the queens, and this is clearly good for black. Black is okay. In fact, black is slightly better after this. So bishop takes C6 is not considered as a good line for white. Now let us come to D3 line, in which our first trap is happening. After D3, black sacrifices E5 pawn by playing knight to E7 and sets up a trap on white. And if white captures the E5 pawn, which is a mistake, and even though knight takes E5 is a mistake, you can see in the latest database that it is the topmost played move by the players. Then black plays C6, attacking the bishop. And now there are 2 possibilities for white. Retreating the bishop to A4 is not a good idea, as white loses a piece. Black will play queen A5 check and then capture any of these pieces, bishop on A4 or knight on E5. But it is better that black captures knight on E5 because this is very centralized and attacking piece of white. So that is why white will not retreat bishop to a4. Instead of that, white will try to put a trap on black by playing knight to c4. And if you foolishly capture this bishop, c takes b5, then white will give you checkmate immediately. Knight d6 check and mate.
Oh no!
This is smothered mate. So black must be very careful not to fall into white's trap. So black must play here knight to g6. And now since there is attack on the bishop, white must retreat it to a4 now. And then you can give pawn fork b5, attacking both pieces of white at the same time, knight and bishop, and you will win one extra piece like this. So this was all about the Mortimer Gambit trap. Now let's go to second trap. Before going to second trap, reminding you, my friends, to subscribe to my channel, which you can do it in 4 seconds now. That will also encourage me to create such wonderful videos for you. Trap number 2, fishing pole trap. It starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6, Berlin defense, and short castle. Then black plays knight g4. Looking at this knight coming to attack, white plays h3. And now black plays beautiful move and sets up a trap on white by playing h5. Now taking the knight, h takes g4 is a blunder by white, but still you can see in Leach's database it is the topmost played move. White can play d4, which we will see at the end of the video, and computer suggests c3 as the best for white. So white falls into trap and captures our knight. H takes g4. We capture back and attack white's knight. Knight h2, and then we play queen h4. Now here white can play f3 or rook e1 or f4. On rook e1 there is mate in 6, and after f4 there is mate in 11. I would suggest you to analyze both these lines and mention in the comment box below. So let's see if white plays f3. This also leads to mate in 6. So the best move for black here is g3, attacking the knight and taking away the escape square of white king. So white makes a room for king by playing rook e1. So you capture the knight by queen. Queen takes h2 check. King f1, and then play knight to d4, which controls the escape square e2 of white king, and then there is unavoidable mate on h1, queen h1 checkmate. So that was all about fishing pole trap. Now let's see what if white doesn't fall for fishing pole trap. That is, he doesn't play h takes g4 but plays d4 instead. So after d4 you take with your pawn, and he will take the pawn with knight. Knight takes d4. If he captures our knight on g4, h takes g4, you simply take it back, h takes g4, attacking the knight. So knight goes to h2. And now you can't play queen h4 here, like fishing pole trap, because the difference is white's d pawn is missing here now. So after queen h4, white can play bishop f4. But this is still okay for black, because black has equalized easily. So he won't play h takes g4 here. And after bishop takes c6, black takes with the d pawn. And if he takes our d4 pawn with queen, you simply exchange the queens and save the knight to e5. So in this case also, black equalizes very easily. That is why after e takes d4, white will play knight takes d4. And now you take the knight takes d4 and queen takes d4. Now you can see here, white's queen is attacking our g7 pawn. But still, we will play bishop d6. This is very important move to remember, and offering our g7 pawn. But if white takes our g7 pawn, then it will be mistake. And you can see here in Leach's database, even though it is a mistake, it is a topmost played move. And now you look at the evaluation also. Currently, it shows 1.0 in favor of white. But after he takes the pawn on g7, which is a mistake, the evaluation changes in favor of black, minus 1.3. So after queen takes g7, playing bishop e5 and attacking the white queen immediately is not a good move. Instead, black must first give bishop h2 check. King goes to h1. Why this is very important to give this check and drive the king to h1, that we will see in the coming moves. Now after king h1, you drop back the bishop to e5 and attack the white queen. You can see now white king is straight in front of our rook. So white queen is attacked. So white will play queen to g5, the only square. You exchange the queens. Queen takes g5, bishop takes g5. Now you take b2 pawn and attack the rook on a1. To support the rook, white must play knight to d2, and now you play knight takes f2 check. This is the reason why it was earlier very important to give bishop h2 check and drive the white king to h1, because knight takes f2 comes as a check. So now white has three options. If rook takes f2, then you simply take his rook. Else king can move to h2 or g1. If he plays king to h2, then you can first do intermediate move, bishop e5 check. King will go to g1, and now you take the h3 pawn also. Knight takes h3 check. G takes h3, and now you capture the rook on a1. So black is clearly winning here. And if king goes to g1 after knight f takes f2 check, then also you take the pawn on h3, knight takes h3 check, g takes h3, bishop takes a1, Rook takes a1, and now you can pin the bishop, and black is winning here. The stockfish gives here minus 3.2 in favor of black, and you can win this bishop now and win the game as well. So that was all about fishing pole trap. Hope you liked the video. Do like, share and comment, and also subscribe to our channel. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.